I hope you're all well. Today I am going to be talking about parenting styles and the parenting techniques that I have implemented into my parenting style to try and deal with a current three-nager situation. Basically, Jasper is 3.5. We sailed through the terrible twos very, very naively, I think I will say, and I kind of just thought, well, if we've got past the terrible twos, there's nothing after that. But yeah, people didn't warn me about the three-nager stage, and I'm pretty sure now people aren't warning me about the four-nager, five-nager, six-nager. I'm pretty sure those are all going to be things. Jasper has become a three-nager. It's normal. None of his behaviour is out of the ordinary. We're also going through a separation at the moment, myself and my husband, and as much as I didn't think it was really affecting him, 3-year-olds are much smarter than we think. A lot of his behaviours are quite specific to the separation, and I will do a video on this specifically, but I'm going to wait until I'm through it on the other side, whatever the other side may be, and I actually kind of know, because at the moment I'm very much in the middle of it and I really haven't got a clue. But the behaviours that I wanted to talk about that have been displayed of late are wetting himself on purpose. He has been potty trained since he was about 2.5. It might just be a regression, it might be a complete coincidence, but he does it on purpose. It's not an accident. He doesn't just randomly do it though, and this is one of the parenting styles that I will talk about, kind of being aware of why things are happening. He's doing that, he's throwing his food, shouting, rolling around on the floor. You're not my best friend, I don't like you, not wanting to go places, refusing to do things. Just, if you've got a 3-year-old, you know. It kind of all got to a point where I was like, something needs to be done. It's only with me, which is wonderful, which I will just say, if you're in this situation and it only happens with you, it's not your fault. It's nothing that you are doing wrong. I've never questioned that it's something that I'm doing wrong. It's because he is secure with me. It's because I am his stable, his everything. You know, you hurt the ones you love. He's definitely doing that to me right now. Yeah, so I've never doubted that, and please do not doubt that if you're in that situation. So I'm going to share with you the 9 parenting changes that I have been making. Number 1 is yes parenting. So I don't say yes to absolutely everything, but my instinct has always been to say no. I would always rather say no to a question, then think about it, whether actually it is kind of doable, whether it is safe, whether, you know, it's not going to cost too much money or make too much mess. And then I might say, oh, actually, okay, you can. That's always been my kind of default. And I think that's always better than saying yes and then having to take it back or say no. However, it's kind of gotten to the point where I just say no to everything. And I feel like that kind of language and that kind of shutdown for Jasper isn't good. I've started saying yes more instinctively. Obviously, I do give myself a quick second to think. For example, the other day, woke up at 7 in the morning, Jasper sleeps in my bed, and I was exhausted, and he said, "Mama, can you read me these 5 books?" He just had 5 books like shoved in my face. My instinct would be to say, no, watch TV, I'll read them later, and then hope that I never have to, because I'd rather scroll through Instagram or get myself ready or just not have to read books. And that makes me feel awful to say, but I'm trying to be honest. But instead I just went, yeah, okay. And we sat there and we read through 3 books, and I wasn't itching to look at my phone or to go back to sleep. I mean, I could have done with going back to sleep, but it was lovely, and he was calm and he didn't have a tantrum, which maybe if I had said no, he might have then pushed back and wanted, you know, but I want to read books, and, you know, his day would have started on a negative. He didn't end up wanting to read 5, we read 3, and then he was happy to say, oh, can I watch TV now? And there was another occasion he wanted to go out in the garden, and it was freezing, and he was barefoot, and he wanted to play with his water gun. And my instinct was to think, no, it's too cold, your feet will be cold, you might catch a cold, you might get wet. And then I just thought, who cares? If he feels cold, he'll come back in. If his feet get wet, I'll dry them. If his clothes get wet, I'll change them. It doesn't matter. So I said yes. He went outside for 5 minutes, I got to finish my cup of tea, he came back in when he was done, and he was happy because he got to do something fun that he wanted to do. So number 2 is ignoring certain behaviours. This is something that I've always kind of ummed and ahed about, because, you know, quite often people say, you know, if he's throwing something, just ignore it and he'll stop doing it. But then I always have in the back of my mind, but he's made a mess, or but he's hurt someone. So obviously it's dependent on the situation. If he has wet himself, then I do need to get him changed. But rather than focusing on, you know, why did you do that? You shouldn't have done that, and, you know, trying to get him to explain himself, when, let's be honest, if he's in that frame of mind, he's not going to do. I just ignore what he's done, either just start to change him myself, or I just say, would you like to get changed? Would you like to help me choose some trousers and socks? And I just do it, and I kind of ignore the act. And also say he's thrown food. If it's just a bit of toast on the wooden floor, pick it up, put it back on, there you go. If it's cereal on the carpet, it's a little bit harder not to say anything or do anything. It boils down to me to picking your battles. And I know some people are probably watching this thinking, you can't just ignore that, you can't let him get away with it. But I think with what he's going through at the moment, the fact that he is only 3, he's only got 3 years worth of understanding. Sometimes I just think, you know, if he hit his brother, if he hurt someone, if he broke something, if it was a constant thing, then yeah, I probably wouldn't ignore it. But when it's just him throwing his toast on the floor, sometimes me telling him off, getting him to explain himself, making him pick it up, whatever it is, causes more of a knock-on effect and more negative behaviour than is worth having. Right, number 3 is distracting from tantrums. So this links in quite nicely with ignoring certain behaviours. So for example, if he's having a bit of a tantrum and I'll try to just distract him rather than focusing on the negative, what he's done wrong, and it's all very confusing for him, I just try and distract, move on to something else. So something that I've been doing is grounding, and this is something that they use for panic attacks. If someone's having a panic attack or anxiety attack, something like that, then you would say to them, right, can you name me 5 things that you can see? 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you can feel. I already feel calmer saying it. 2 things that you can smell and 1 thing that you can taste. And by the time the person has done that, it's grounded them to be in the room, and it's also it's distracted them and it's given them a focus. So I try and do something similar to that with Jasper. So I might say, can you find me 5 blue things, 4 red things, 3 green things, like that? Or can you find me 5 big things? Can you find me 2 round things? I don't know, 3 fluffy things. Get down to his level, so if he's laying on the floor, I lay with him. If he's sitting, then I might give him a cuddle, I might put him on my lap. I speak very softly, sometimes I whisper it in his ear as if it's like an exciting game, like, oh, can you find me 5 blue things? And it works. It absolutely works. So that is a brilliant one. It's great to do as well if you can kind of see a tantrum coming. You know, if your child has started to moan a little bit, or, you know, is getting a bit frustrated with their toy, something like that. And if you can correct whatever it is, like if they are getting frustrated, help them rather than distracting to something else, like help them to do it themselves. Yeah, it's a really, really great method, and I found that it works a treat. Right, number 4 is using more positive language. So like I said, I'm quite quick to say no, or not, or don't. Those kind of negatives, like, no, you can't have a cookie before bed, you're not doing that. But I found that if I say something like, oh, you can have a glass of milk tonight, and then you can have a cookie after breakfast tomorrow morning. So it's 2 very positive things. It's not saying, no, you can't now. He's just saying, oh, I can have this and I can have this. Sometimes he clicks and he's like, no, I want a cookie now. I don't want milk. You know, in which case then I might say, oh, we've already brushed our teeth, haven't we? So, you know, let's have a cookie tomorrow instead, and some milk. You know, sometimes you just got to give in. Just let them have it, or you do have to say, you know, we can't have it tonight, but we will have it tomorrow. Just really try and reinforce the positive language. Okay, number 5 is to praise more. I am very guilty of, and it's not a bad thing, but I praise the really good behaviour, the sharing, the, you know, the really great drawing, or, you know, sleeping really well, eating all of his dinner, and I tell off for the negative things. Pushed your brother, you threw something, and the middle ground just gets forgotten. So when he's just sat watching TV nicely, when he's playing nicely with his brother, when he's been on a long car journey and not had a tantrum, those kind of things get ignored because, you know, let's be honest, you can't be praised for everything, and I don't want him to grow up unrealistically thinking, you know, he should get praised for not hurting his brother. I do think that at this moment in time, when he is going through the teenager phase and he is feeling a little bit insecure, he does need that extra praise. And I found that if I say to him, you know, good boy for getting ready this morning, and oh, you're playing really nicely with your brother, and you've watched that programme really nicely, or oh my goodness, you're halfway through your breakfast already, that's amazing. Just really giving him that positive reinforcement, it's reinforcing positivity in his mind, and he's less likely to be, you know, almost finish his breakfast and think, oh, you know, mum's feeding Jensen and I'm not getting any attention, and you know, I don't want him to be an attention seeker, but I really just want to praise him and make him feel really good. Also, if he has been really good all day and then he gets frustrated with something and say breaks it or throws it, rather than thinking, right, that's it, you know, you've ruled out the whole day, praising how he gets back to that positive way. So for example, if he's been good all day, then he throws something, has a bit of a tantrum, and I say, right, should we pick that up? And he helps me to pick it up. And I don't at all want to teach him that it's okay to do those bad things. You're still going to get praised afterwards. But I do want him to understand that people do make mistakes and we do have meltdowns. And, you know, I do snap and I shout. I wouldn't want to then be punished and held accountable for that for the rest of the day, or for the rest of the week. And, you know, kids of that age, they don't have a concept of time. So for him, if I say, you're not getting your treat today, that's a lifetime for him. It depends on the circumstances, of course, but if he does do something like that and, you know, he's really good at kind of helping me to clear up afterwards and understanding what he's done, then I do praise him for that. And I say, you know, you are being really good now. Well done for understanding what you did was wrong. And, you know, maybe we can still have that treat. Let's carry on being positive again. Number 6 is to pay more attention. This is something that I'm, again, very guilty of, and I'm sure lots of mamas are as well. Sometimes I'll know that Jasper was asking me 5 times, Mama, can you change the channel? Mama, can you change the channel? Mama, can you change the channel? But I'm on Instagram or I'm replying to an email. I try not to do things in front of my children, but sometimes I do have to respond to an email urgently, or I'm cleaning, or I'm cooking, or I'm, you know, engrossed in something else. You know, by the time that I've finally gone, what is it? What do you want? He's already asked me 5 times and he's already frustrated. And I think, no wonder he's frustrated if I had to ask someone 5 times before they did something. So yeah, now I try and just make sure that, you know, phone is away, I'm really paying attention. If he says something to me, put down what I'm doing and answer it, and then I can go back to that later. I don't want him to think that he doesn't have to wait. Obviously, sometimes he does need to wait for someone to finish talking. Yeah, just, he needs to be my main focus at the moment, and always. Number 7 is to be more consistent. So this is something that I have mentioned that I struggle with. If he does the same thing, for example, throwing his breakfast on the floor, Monday I could put him on the naughty step, Tuesday I could, you know, really shout at him, Wednesday I could just comfort him, Thursday I could ignore it. I'm not very consistent, and I think that is a major problem, because for him, he's just thinking, yesterday she comforted me, so I didn't think it was that bad a thing to do, but today I'm on the naughty step. And yeah, it's confusing for them, and I think for them they need these clear set boundaries, like, you know, when I do something wrong, this is what happens, just to make them feel more secure. It's also important that there is consistency amongst everyone, every other person in your village that is helping to raise your child. So make sure that dad is doing this. If you're dad, make sure mum is doing it, make sure grandparents, the nursery teachers, make sure they're doing the same thing, because it doesn't work if Jasper throws something and I comfort him, but daddy puts him on the naughty step, and nursery give him time out. So yeah, just try and be consistent with yourself and everyone else. Number 8, I feel like this is quite a difficult one, because Jasper got to the stage where he would just go and choose his clothes. He would choose what he wants for breakfast, he would choose his bowl, I wouldn't even really give him any options. And even though it worked and he got really independent, I kind of feel like sometimes it was a bit too much and the pressure was on him, and he would get a bowl and then he would change his mind. And I'd say, well, you chose it. And then he'd go, no, I don't want that one, I don't want that one. And he'd quickly change, and, you know, he'd put one top on and then he'd change to another. So I found now that giving 2 options, you know, choose one of these 2 tops, choose, you know, one of these 2 pairs of socks, choose one of these 2 bowls, or, you know, 2 options for breakfast, something like that. It's still giving him his choice, it's giving him his independence, but it's taking away that pressure. And it's also so much better than just saying, right, this is what you're having for breakfast, this is the bowl you're having. Because, you know, if someone gave me a mug that I really didn't like and I didn't want to drink from it, and I asked them if I could change it and they said no, I'd feel awful, because I'd think, well, hang on, but I like my special mug. You know, we've all got our things that we like, and, you know, someone said to me, you're wearing that top today, but I didn't feel comfortable or I didn't like it. I'm not going to be happy, I'm not going to be in a good mood. And even though I'm old enough not to have a tantrum, I'm also old enough to understand that Jasper isn't old enough not to have a tantrum. Okay, last but not least, number 9, I couldn't get my fingers right then. Try and figure out why. This links in really well with paying attention, because if you pay attention and you can kind of see the lead up to the tantrums, then you're more likely to be able to stop them before they happen. Now, I found, for example, that if Jasper has wet himself, it's usually because I have told him off for throwing his breakfast. He's thrown his breakfast 9 times out of 10 because he's either frustrated with something, he hasn't got the right thing, or I'm giving attention to something else. So for example, I might have carried Jasper's bowl in, put it on the table, and then sat down to feed Jensen without finishing off, you know, kind of making sure that Jasper's on his chair and ready to go. It might be because he hasn't got the right breakfast or the right bowl, so in that case, I'll give him options. You know, I'll let him choose his bowl. I don't want to give him too many options, because I think too many options can be too confusing sometimes. Sometimes giving him a choice of 2. So these are your 2 choices of breakfast, 2 choices of bowl, 2 choices of tops to wear, that kind of thing. So yeah, just trying to figure out why they've done it, pay more attention to it, and then you can try and avoid it the next time. So that's it. Those are my 9 parenting styles, parenting kind of changes, I guess they are, that I have made over the past couple of weeks. I have seen major improvements. We have still had tantrums, quite bad ones. The way that I handle them and the way that I just kind of parent in general now means that I see his behaviour in a different way, and I'm able to kind of stop some tantrums before they happen. I'm able to console him better, to distract him better. Yeah, mainly just avoid them or deal with them in a better way. I found that I feel like a much calmer parent. I feel like I'm doing a much better job. I feel like Jasper feels a lot more secure and like he's actually being listened to in a bit more of a respectful way, and as more of an individual rather than, oh, he's 3, put him on the naughty step. You know, it's more about his needs. And I've also found that our bond has gotten a lot stronger. We're more in tune with each other, and yeah, it's really working. I'm not saying that these are quick fixes at all, because like I said, we're still getting tantrums, but they are definitely helping. So I'll definitely do 9 separate videos, one on each of these. But I hope you found these useful. If you try any of these, or if you've got any more suggestions, please do leave them below. Give this a big fat thumbs up if you did find it useful. Subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!